Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. We are holding the Tuesday, April 26th meeting of Golden Speakers Toastmasters of Fairfield and Washington, Iowa. This is a meeting around the theme of travel, and Vice President of Education Jean has found some juicy quotes, one by Marcel Proust, one by T.S. Eliot on the travel theme. The mission of our club is to create a supportive and positive learning environment in which each of us has the opportunity to develop verbal communication and leadership skills, which in turn fosters self-confidence and personal growth. Let's hear it for our mission. Tonight we have a Toastmaster in the person of Mr. Nick Campney, who will take over the meeting from me at this point.
Thank you, Art. Fellow Toastmasters, thank you for joining tonight. And if there are any viewers at home, thanks for tuning in. Tonight, we have another special presentation as we are going to rock and roll through a speech by Bob. And then after that, we'll get down to some table topics on the theme of the meeting, which, what was the theme again, Art?
The theme is travel.
Travel, thank you. So I'm looking forward to that. But first, before we get there, we need to introduce some key roles tonight. Tonight, we have a timer who is Art. So Art, I'm going to hand it back to you to explain the timer role, please.
Yes, I will be timing the prepared speech and table topics and evaluations tonight as part of my job in keeping us moving along. The table topics presentations are 1 to 2 minutes in length. At 1 minute, I'll display the green card. At 1.5 minutes, I'll display the yellow card. And at 2 minutes, I will display the red card and will keep it on display until the speaker finishes. Once the red card is displayed, you have 30 seconds to wrap up to remain in qualification for the much coveted meeting awards at the end of the meeting. The prepared speech from Bob tonight is, I'm checking the agenda to see what time has been allowed for it.
Art, he's 5 to 7 minutes. That's the competition speech. And then because I don't have an option to choose 5 to 7 as an educational speech for Bob. So, or it's a special speech. So we will have a little extra time if we want to give him any feedback and then keep moving.
Okay, so we'll time that at 5 to 7. That'll be green at 5, yellow at 6, red at 7. Evaluation are typically 2 to 3 minutes in length. Unless we decide otherwise, evaluations will be timed at 2 minutes, green, 2.5 minutes, yellow, 3 minutes, red. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Art. All right, so next in our list of things, and I imagine we'll get a doozy of a word here from Jean, as she is our grammarian and likes to challenge us. Jean, what's up today?
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. I have chosen the word venture. Venture can be used as both a noun and a verb. An example the definition as a noun is a risky or daring journey or undertaking. Used in a sentence, pioneering ventures into little known waters. That's not really a sentence, but that gives you the usage, sense of the usage. Or as a verb, daring to do something or go somewhere that may be dangerous or unpleasant or a little risky. So she ventured out into the blizzard. Also, becoming a Toastmaster means that you're venturing out into the sometimes scary world of public speaking. I'll be looking for usages of that word in either noun or verb form. I'll also be taking note of any particularly creative usages of the English language and usages that I think may, from my opinion, need a little improvement. And I'll be giving a report at the end of the meeting.
Thank you, Jean.
Mm-hmm.
Next up in our list of important role players tonight is Dan Craig, who will be the awe counter. Dan, what is an awe counter?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters. I'm glad you asked. An awe counter is the role in the meeting during which the member counts the filler words that are used inadvertently by members as they speak. These are things like well, so, like, little words that are injected into a sentence rather than a pause, which is more appropriate. And my job is to keep track of these and give a report at the end of the meeting. Also track false starts, repeats, and any other kind of creative filler, and give that report at the end. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. We have a general evaluator. Oh, that's right back to Dan. Dan is playing multiple roles here. He's also the general evaluator. You want to explain that briefly?
Yes, I don't really have to do anything now. I'll take the meeting over midway where it shows on the agenda, and we'll hear from me then.
Okay. We'll also hear again from Art at the end to wrap things up with a joke. But without further ado, I would like to move on to tonight's big speech, which sorry, just a second. I don't have, or if I was sent, Jean?
I didn't send
This
it.
is, yeah, no, it's, how about if I just do a quick on the spot intro?
Okay.
Would that be helpful?
I could also, you can, either way.
If you feel like but there was nothing sent, but we're just giving Bob, a 4 days before the contest.
Yeah. So Bob, I believe, had given this speech before I had arrived, maybe, and gave it again to our club. And then he took it off to Oskaloosa, but they didn't quite make it to Oskaloosa, and he took it to Iowa City because it was a bigger city and he wanted a bigger audience. And he took home first place. And then he went back and he took home first place. And he's getting ready to go out there again for another victory. And he's given us one final polished look at it. And we're awfully excited to have Bob here. And we're wondering what kind of flying adventures are going to come up. So Bob, whenever you're ready, take it away, please.
Picture this. All I can see are the stars and the moon floating along like a magic carpet ride. I'll get back to that in a minute. Earlier that day, I told Dad that I was going to spend the night at a buddy Mark's house, and he just gave me the man nod. When I got there, another buddy, Tim, was there. Our plan was simple. Mark and Tim and I were just going to go uptown and hang out with some girls. And off we went with our big bad selves. When we got there, it was a fun time and all with the girls. However, it was cut a little short, for they had a curfew at midnight. And off they went. We headed back home. And along the way, Mark blurts out, "Road trip." Say, "What? See that car?" "Well, yeah, it's got the keys in it. Let's take it for a road trip." Well, not wanting to look like a chicken or to turn down a dare, Tim and I quietly tiptoed to the front of the car, pushing it out of the driveway. As we all jumped in, Mark starts it up and bum, 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 bum. There's no muffler on this car. And it's a 3-speed on the column. When Mark takes off, he's in third gear. Chug, 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 and away we go. So much for a quiet getaway. About 2 miles out of town on the gravel road, we come across a set of railroad tracks. And they were about 10 feet higher than the road we were traveling on, with about a 45-degree incline. They look like they had been designed by Evel Knievel himself. We hit those things about 30 miles an hour. I was like, whoa, what a rush, dude. We get down the other side, turn around. Tim goes, "My turn." Tim gets in the driver's seat. I'm in the front. Mark's in the back. And away we go. Tim's going 60 miles an hour. With my feet on the dash and my hands on the ceiling of the car, we hit that thing, and all I could see were the stars and the moon, floating like a magic carpet ride. When I started humming a tune from 1972, "Life in the Fast Lane." Oh, we hit. Dust, gravel flying everywhere. Mark goes, "Far up, dude." We continue this another 6-8 times, at which time Mark speaks up again and goes, "I'm bored." I say, "What? There's no radio." Well, Mark was right. There was no radio. There wasn't even seatbelts in this old car. Off we went back to town, and wouldn't you know it, we found a pickup right on the edge of town, and it had another set of keys in it. Mark hops in, takes off. We go back to the jump. Mark goes over first. He's doing 60 miles an hour. However, Mark miscalculated a little bit. When he came down, his right tire went into that ditch. The truck went through the ditch, through a fence, field, back through the fence, and bang, right on top of the gravel road. I'm driving on, coming over hot, and all I can see is Mark's eyes. They were like deer in headlights. I jammed the brakes, come sliding in, and I missed him by that much. Well, it was time to go. We headed back to town. And along the way, we came across a feed store with a big gravel parking lot, and we decided we were going to cut some donuts. And simply what donuts are is we chase each other around in circles. About the third lap or so, all of a sudden, sirens, lights flashing. It's the cops. Let's get out of here. Mark goes out. He goes to the left, and the cops go after him. Tim pulls out. We go to the right. Tim finds the first alley. We go down the alley. Dead end. Dang. We bail out, running back to Mark's place with one small minor problem. There is a slow moving train before us. And with the cops hot on our trail, what else do? You simply crab walk right underneath that train, and which we did. Tim and I got down to Mark's basement, and I'm thinking, I'm going to jail for sure. About an hour later, Mark shows up. Dude, what happened? Well, it was like this. When I took off, I stopped at a stop sign, and I killed it. So naturally, I opened the truck door, act like I was going to talk to the cops. And I took off running, and they couldn't catch me. I think they just got a donut break. They were so slow. Well, let me tell you, that was big news in small town Iowa. There were rumors at all. However, the cops never cracked the case. And I remember back in that day, I can still hear my mom. Mom always said, if you hang out with hoodlums, trouble's gonna find you. Mama was right. I decided then to ditch those friends and put the life of crime behind me and never look back.
Thank you, Bob. Wow. What a joy to watch the transformation of this speech over various times. I feel like you've really developed it and nailed it and given me inspiration to practice something many times over.
Thank you.
Let's see. Do we?
You're on mute.
Do we have an evaluator?
Oh, we don't have an evaluator. Where are we on timing, Art? We have several minutes?
Yes, next up is at 8:08. We've got 3.
Yeah, that's about right. Okay. Any comments that people would like to mention or questions or anything for Bob? Bob seems on a pretty good, trajectory here.
Just one quick thing. Bob was really great. So much energy and great body language. The point where you guys almost collided.
Yes.
You were that close.
Yes.
It wasn't clear that you were both driving. It wasn't clear what had happened there. He had gotten in a pickup and zipped around and gone back. It wasn't clear to me that you were in a car until you said you almost collided.
Okay.
So you just might think about saying it. And I was still driving the other car or something like that.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, so that was my comment too. I wasn't sure who was on first, what was on second. It sounded like Mark was just suddenly standing there in the middle of the road and you almost, hit him.
Okay.
But was he in a vehicle?
Yeah, well, so when he landed on the road in the truck, I came over in the car. And as I was coming over in the car, I was heading right for him because he was at a dead stop. When I said he came out of the ditch, he landed right there in the gravel. And I'm driving over. And as I came over, all I could see was his eyes as big as deer in the headlights. And I stomped the brakes trying not to hit him. And I came sliding in and I missed him by that much.
So you were using both trucks at this point, the original one.
In the car. He was in the truck that we picked up the second time with the radio.
Okay.
And I was driving the car.
You guys, okay. So I had a little bit of just figuring out where that was. If you're able to add just a little something on when you go pick up the car, when you find the car with the radio, and Mark's the one that wants that. Mark's the one that says, I'm bored, I want a radio. And then,
right.
So we let Mark drive the car. Tim and I stayed in the truck and we went back
It's the other way around.
It was the other way around, but yeah, I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
Yes. So that was the thing. Yeah. So something to make sure we know who's in what vehicle and then.
Okay.
Okay.
I can add something. I can clarify that. Simple enough.
Yeah, you have a good amount of additional time. You were dead stopped already at 6:04.
Oh, I was. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I have time to interject that.
Yeah.
All right.
To make sure we all know what's on. But then after you got those vehicles that you all went back. So there's 2 vehicles now going over the railroad tracks.
Yes.
And one of them, the wheel, was that the car or was that
That
the
was
truck?
the truck. So the truck went first. Mark was driving. He went over. He miscalculated, went through the ditch and the fence and out back, and he landed back on the gravel road. Tim
Okay.
and I were in the car driving, following him.
And you didn't see what had happened to
For a
him.
second, and here he was sitting in the middle of the road.
Gotcha.
And I'm
Gotcha.
coming in, and I'm trying to stomp the brakes, sliding into him, hit him, T-bone him, and that's when his eyes were like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna T-bone him.
Were you in the air? But you came
Yeah.
over and you saw him, and then you're trying to go, because I mean, how do you steer in the air? You can't steer.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The brakes, and I see him now come sliding in. I'm like,
So you had hit the ground,
yeah,
and but he was right there. So now you're trying
right
to.
there. Yep.
Okay.
So when I came
Okay.
over,
Okay. Yeah. Just a little clarification there for
okay,
those. That would be good.
I can clarify that in my speech too.
You can see we're having a little.
Yeah.
We missed a little of the drama because of that. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
remember what you told me the first time around when I did it. A couple things Dan said, what was life lesson? So that's why I added by turning my friends and changed my life of crime. And the second thing, Jean, you said the first time out that it was too high key. So I was trying to get some low spots in there, like the slow moving train and,
Mhm.
the take a breath. And I was just trying to slow it down a little bit and speed it up.
Yeah, because then you have some contrast when you really want contrast. It's not just all high powered, and then it kind of you lose people that way because it's not, you don't have the contrast. That's it. Yeah, I could see some changes. Nick, did anyone else have anything I think we're.
I definitely improved. I mean, majorly improved. I thought it really came together. Your humor was great. It was just more polished. The way you moved through the nightlife and the bar scene, you told us everything that we needed to know about that it was part of the focus of the night, but it wasn't part of the exciting story. So I thought just those changes you made were great. I did find it a little bit ironic that you were singing Life in the Fast Lane and Mark's like, can we get a radio? And if you want to add in one more joke on that, there might be a spot for that. But I thought it was really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're in table topics time now.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Art. So
Everyone?
I'm going to hand it over to Jean then, who is going to lead us through table topics.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Tonight's theme is travel. And with Bob's speech, we've already done a little traveling, although it was back in time and it was over railroad tracks, but it was up in the air. It was seeing the stars. So we're off to a good start on our theme. I have some questions here, 1 through 6. Who would like to take one? Let's see. Now, I will mention Nick is the table topics evaluator. Nick, I put you in there just to see how you might do. I hope that's okay.
Yeah.
But if you would like to take one at some point, you can ask somebody else to evaluate you.
Sure.
With that said, any volunteers? Okay, Art. Art, which one would you like of 1 through 6?
Oh, 1.
What do you see as a benefit of travel? Please give an example from personal experience. Oh, someone needs to time Art as well.
I think I can time myself, but it wouldn't hurt if somebody else did it too.
Yeah. Does anybody have their timing
Grab
set?
my phone real quick if you just hang on one moment.
I like that background Bob has, by the way.
Yeah.
Most of us changed surroundings tonight.
It was in the stars.
Yeah,
So-
Art and I are the same, but everybody else is.
That's my living room.
All right, Bob, we like your background, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
So, okay, so Art, I'll give you the question again, okay?
Yes.
What do you see as the benefit of travel? Please give us an example from personal experience.
Thank you, Madam Topics Master. Good evening, Fairfield Toastmasters. This question is directly bears on my experience. I've traveled as an adult, but I had the good fortune to travel when I was a youngster, 10 years old. And I think the benefit and the impact of travel has a lot to do with the age at which you travel. Because what I learned, the benefit, I believe it was a large benefit, was something that I learned by osmosis when I was traveling in Greece as a 10-year-old, which I've spoken about before. The lesson that I came home with was that there were people living in places in this world very different from anywhere that I had ever lived before. And they had completely different ways of thinking and behavior, different culture. They had a totally different way of living. And I got to see that and see that it worked for them, even though I didn't share their way of living. I could appreciate that other people have very functional ways of living that are different from ours. And it stayed with me for my whole life. I've been fascinated with international affairs, and I feel that I have some understanding of how other people think as a result of that early experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Art. Okay. Next. Volunteer. By the way, I'm listening to this on my speaker rather than in my headphones, and it's a much better thing for Finley because he gets to hear it now. He's really enjoying the meeting, lying at my feet right now. Yeah. So, okay, we're going to shift from volunteer to voluntold in just a couple seconds here. If we
Well,
don't get,
I figure I'm most likely to be voluntold, so
you're
I'll
pretty,
volunteer. I'll
you're
venture to take on this task.
okay. There we go. Word of the evening as well. All right, Dan, 2 through 6.
3,
If you could pick anyone to travel with, who would you pick and where would you go? And it does not have to be me. No loyalty requirement here. Mhm. Yay, Dan. Okay.
Thank you, Madam Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters. Even though I don't have to pick Jean, I choose Jean. She and I haven't traveled a lot, but all the times that we've traveled have been really wonderful adventures. As far as the place that I'd like to go, I think we most enjoy when we go to the beach. Probably because it's so unique compared to our day-to-day lives. There's no ocean anywhere near Fairfield, Iowa. So when we get out there and walk along the ocean and have the surf pounding in under our feet, it's a different experience that we enjoy very much. The last time we went to the beach, we went to Cabo, which is a very nice place because it's a desert climate It has beautiful beaches. It has whales that are breaching regularly offshore. Very inspiring sight. And the nice thing about the desert environment is there are no bugs, none. So it's really quite a wonderful experience all around, not to mention the food. We had a great time when we went, had good food, good whale watching, good lounging around the beach under the umbrella, just reading a book, good music, live music playing at night. I think having thought about that trip, I'm ready to do it again.
Mm.
So Jean, would you go with me on that trip again?
Oh, Dan! Yes, I'm so glad you asked me.
All right, just like we practiced. Thank you.
That reminds me of those public proposals that people do, in the poor,
Yeah, in the baseball
Usually-
stadium.
yeah, usually the poor woman is going, really? I gotta address this now? Pressure. All right.
Does anybody ever say no? Boy, would that be a...
Well, that's the thing. Somebody thinks that the woman's not going to say no. All right. So here we go. We have 2 and then 4 through 6. Bob,
Go number 4.
number 4. Okay. Bob, name one thing that you really don't like about travel and why.
And the one thing I don't like about travel, I've done a lot of travel in my life. I've had a lot of fun experiences. My dad was in the Navy, so we were constantly traveling on them, go from here, there, and everywhere. And even as a young boy, before we had any technology, the folks, when they venture out, they would sometimes hit here, this place, and this way, which wasn't always a straight shot, because mom wanted to see this or mom wanted to see that. And in doing so, we had to count red cars, or we had to count blue cars, or we had to count so many signs, or things of that nature. And it was always fun as with my siblings and my folks, and a good time. I continued to travel when I was living in Nashville, and it's about 12-hour trip. Other than my dog, it's a pretty boring trip. I can only listen to so much music. I can only listen to so much silence. And I find that at first in the trip, you kind of get into it. But what I really don't like is after you're about 5, 6, 7 hours in, I just don't like that part. I can call people, but it's not quite the same. And I especially don't like road construction.
Mm.
And getting bottlenecked in St. Louis down by the stadium when you got endless cars coming and they narrow it down to one lane. And typically what I find, I usually seem to hit rush hour for whatever reason, or if it's raining, I find that very, very unpleasant and nerve-wracking, white knuckle, actually. And I always tell myself I'm going to hit a different direction. However, I'm a creature of habit, and I think it's going to be better on the next trip. And I just never seem to learn my lesson.
I think we should talk about podcasts, Bob, and there's so much stuff you can listen to now. Makes the hours fly by. So we should have that conversation.
Okay.
All right.
Audiobook, same way,
Yeah.
same idea.
You just got to get some other things to, like a gripping thriller, or something, just, oof.
Take my mind off of it.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So who else do we have? Do we have anybody left? Does anybody want to go again? Or did Nick didn't go, did he?
I did not go. I was not raising my hand technically. I was changing battery. No light in the shed.
Well, that to me, it looks like you're really excited because you're raising both hands. Yeah.
And a flashlight.
Spotlight, please.
So we're going to have a loose interpretation of your movements tonight. And so would you like one?
I'll take the adventure.
Take the venture. Okay. Wow, Nick is racking it up. So who wants to do a little mini evaluation of Nick? For Nick. Dan. Oh, Art's doing it. Art's going to do it. Okay, Art can do it. Good. All right. 2, 5, or 6?
2.
Do you like to travel with a group of people, or do you prefer to travel by yourself or with one other close companion?
Madam Table Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters, I got to tell you the truth. I was asked the question, do I like to travel in a big group or with just maybe one other person? Man, that brought back stories and images in my mind. Since I started traveling, I have mostly traveled in big groups. There's one particular image that came to mind, though, of the many travels that I've done. I bought a school bus. Not everybody can say, I bought a school bus. When I was in college, I was a mascot.
Oh.
But on this particular trip, I didn't want to go and have to sit with the team and, be all confined when we were going to the Orange Bowl in Florida, Miami. Come on. My birthday's November 2nd. And I bought myself a school bus for $3,000. Now, between November 2nd and the end of December, we had a lot of work to do. I had to get a license. I had to paint it all black and gold, make sure that I knew how to drive it, tear out the seats, put in a table, TV, sofa, and find 16 friends who are going to go with me.
Wow.
All cheering for the Hawkeyes, all trying to put together a 500-piece puzzle that was black and gold while we sat bumpity on this school bus going 60 miles an hour because it didn't go any faster for 34 hours to get to Miami. Whew. But it was worth it. Oh, I wish I could tell you more. We just got to Miami and they put up the red card. Sorry, guys. You'll have to come back to the next episode.
All right. I think you answered the question. That groups are kind of a thing. More the merrier. Okay, I have one more question. Where are we, Mr. Toastmaster, on our time?
We are at the end
Nick,
of the.
wait. We're looking at our Toastmaster.
Yes, it's 8:32, I believe. Am I reading the right thing?
I don't know. I don't have it in front of me. What does it say? When does it say that?
Table topics to 8:31.
8:31, or well, we're at 8:28.
I think
Are
we
you
can
seeing
sneak
that?
one in more. Jean, do you want to give yourself the last question?
Sure. Okay. All right, well, here's my last question. Oh, actually, there's two more questions. Okay. All right. Well, I'll take actually this one. So ahead of travel, are you organized and methodical in your preparation? Or do you prefer to just get up and go as the spirit moves you? Or something in between? Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master and fellow Toastmasters. This reminds me of the trip that my mother and I took back in 2004. It was a 3-week tour. It was with a company called Elder Hostel, and it was Introduction to Portugal and Spain. And by telling you about this story, you will see which way I lean. We were going to be gone for 3 weeks. We were going to be moving throughout. We would be living out of suitcases. And you had to carry your own suitcase. There was not someone to carry it for you. Taking all these variables into account, my mother and I researched various systems for packing. And we got so into it. I said to my mom, we are having such a good time planning this. She said, that's the way I feel about travel. It's always the anticipation. That's the really fun part. So for 3 weeks in my suitcase, I had 3 different levels separated by cardboard that had coordinating tops and bottoms and gear. So I would wear those for the first week, and then they're now officially dirty. They go on the bottom. I pick everything. I pick the layers up with the cardboard. The dirty stuff goes under the bottom. And the next layer, so it's like kind of working its way up. And it was amazing. The people we were traveling with I was talking about this, and they just were amazed that how I had organized that. And when I got home, we had a wonderful time. When I got home, we got invited to a birthday party where it was a talent show. And I was asked to give a packing demonstration on just this stuff. And I came and I brought a suitcase, and I brought my little cardboard dividers, and I showed people how to pack. And I still have people, one woman in particular, who says she still remembers that presentation that I did about how to pack. So I am definitely a preparer and a methodical person. I like to be organized, and then I can just let go and be free. And I don't have to worry about all the little things because it's all taken care of. Thank you. Well, there we have it for our table topics. I will hand it off now. I will ask our timer. Art's our timer. Art can tell us who qualified.
Jean qualified, Bob qualified, Dan qualified. I'm not sure about me. I didn't time
I
myself.
sent it to you, qualified, Art. Maybe you didn't receive the chat.
Okay, Art's qualified.
Yes.
So Art, Dan, Bob, and Jean qualified.
The school bus didn't make it?
Yeah,
Oh.
unfortunately, 2 seconds.
Oh,
I didn't even really register it.
he was deep into that school bus. We could, bouncing along. All right. So go ahead and send your votes to Nick, our Toastmaster. And meanwhile, do we want to hear from our table topics evaluator? Nick's wearing double duty here.
I think the votes can come in and
Yeah,
they can be tallied later. So
yeah.
How much time do you need, Nick? You've got 4 people to evaluate, probably 2 to 3 minutes. We'll do it.
we'll give it a shot. I've never been over on a speech before, and I'm not afraid to do it again.
Okay, you're going to venture to complete this this assignment.
I'll take the bench. 2 to 3 minutes. Give it a shot.
Okay.
Fellow Toastmasters, what an honor to listen to the speeches tonight. We started with some great table topic questions on travel, and Art led it off. Art had a question. What do you see as a benefit of travel? And given a personal example, I was quite impressed with the way he I was quite impressed with how he got into his personal experience. And when he brought it down to the point where age was critical to his travel. And that key point, I think he used so well in order to bring up his final statements, which brought back how his whole life is now interest in international changes and international policies and information. If he was going to have an improvement, could have maybe used some hand gestures in there, although the whole speech was appreciated as it was. Dan was up next. His question was, if you could pick anyone to travel with, who would it be and where would you go? And he was stuck in between a tough spot there. His dear, lovely wife asked him the question in front of many, possibly millions of viewers at home, and he made a smart choice. But better than making a smart choice, from the looks in his eyes and the smile on his face when he was talking about the whales, you could tell that he meant it. You could feel that he was really genuine. And the further he went on thinking about that, the better it was getting in his mind. And to the point where he drew the conclusion that he would like to do it again. It was an excellent speech, and I do not have a challenge for you tonight. Bob then had the question, one thing you really don't like about travel. And as we grow to love Bob, we knew smiles were coming, we knew hand gestures were coming, and he brought it all in with that traffic jam at the end that we can all feel sympathy for the people who are squashed down to one lane. Thank you, Bob. If I were to challenge you, I would say you introed with a repeat of the question, but maybe you could have grabbed us with something else more saucy at the beginning. Finally, Jean, not last but not least. She greeted herself, beautiful, wearing many hats in this stadium. Make fun with it. I love it. And then, layering upon layering, the detail was there. So, thank you, Jean. I think I better wrap it up. I'll send it back to the General Evaluator, Mr. Dan Craig.
Very good, Nick. Thank you. Everybody has sent their votes for best table topics to Nick as Toastmaster. And I'll just ask before we move on, Mr. Timer, did our evaluator qualify?
No, I'm afraid to say at 2 to 3, he did not qualify. I timed 2 to 3 minutes.
2 to 3 was pretty challenging. So we probably set him up for some difficulty there.
Set him up for a fall.
First time. It was his first time. So,
Yeah. Art, you were going to evaluate Nick, is that right? Did you have,
That's correct. I was going to give
why
it.
don't you go ahead and do that?
Okay, Nick gave us a particularly colorful answer to his question that involved the story of buying, painting, and fixing up an old school bus and then subjecting himself and the group to a 34-hour trip to Miami. I particularly appreciated all of the colorful descriptions that he wove into the answer. I have no suggestion beyond timing. He was at 2 seconds over his limit. So the only suggestion that I have is as regards watching the clock.
Okay, Art, thank you. Appreciate it. Now it's time for us to move ahead with the reports for the meeting. And let's hear from Art, the timer's report, please.
Bob's prepared speech came in at 6 minutes and 4 seconds. Dan is the table topic speaker, 2:14. Bob, 2:15. Nick, 2:32. Jean, 2:27. Nick as an evaluator, 3 minutes, 48 seconds. And somebody timed my table topics.
It was me. And it was 1 minute, 54 seconds.
Thank you. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you, Art. Let's hear from our grammarian, Jean.
thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. For the word of the evening, Nick used venture twice. Dan used it once. And Jean used it once. Did I miss anyone? And Bob used it once. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. In terms of some usages that I heard, I didn't hear any bad usages of language or areas needing improvement. Bob had blurts out. I think he was talking about one of his guys. He blurts out something. I like that. Art had osmosis and functional, which I liked. Dan had breaching when he was describing the whales. I still was thinking about Dan. Did he want me to go with him on a trip or did he want the whales to go with him on a trip? It was a little hard to tell where the affection was the strongest there, but Dan's got a big heart, so whales and I can both be in there. Now, Nick said saucy. I liked saucy. And that's my report.
Thank you. I'm the counter. Let me give that report. Our most popular word tonight was First, Bob had 2 one and I heard 5 ands. I think they were all in your table topic.
Oh.
And 1 you know. Nick had an and 7 and that's all. Jean had 4 1 so that was out of place, 1 kind of. Art was clean, except I thought I registered one false start.
Yes.
That's my report as a counter. Now, our joke master tonight is, I'm not looking at the agenda. Who is that? Okay, Art, take it away.
A couple was celebrating their 50th anniversary at the church's marriage marathon. So minister asked Brother Ralph, the husband, to take a few minutes and share with everyone some insights into how he managed to live with the same woman all these years. Brother Ralph spoke to the audience. Well, I treated her with respect. I spent money on her, but mostly I took her traveling on special occasions. To where? The minister asked him. For our 25th anniversary, I took her to Beijing, China, Ralph replied. What a terrific example you are to all husbands, Ralph, the minister said. Please tell the audience what you're going to do with your wife on the 50th anniversary. Brother Ralph said, I'm going back to get her.
Very good. Okay. That was a good one, Art. Thank you. It's time for me to give my general evaluator report. And in our club, what we do with the general evaluator report is just talk about the evaluators for the evening. My job is easier because I've only got one evaluator tonight, and that was Nick. I think the first order of business is to give Nick a round of applause. It was the first time he's ever been assigned as evaluator. And he's probably about as good as you would expect anyone to be. He did a great job. In table topics, you have to move quickly. We maybe didn't give him enough time, so he did manage to run over time. But the most basic things are to repeat the question so that the audience remembers what the context is, to give some praise to the speaker so they feel encouraged, and to give a suggestion to the speaker so they've got a grounds to grow and progress. And Nick did that for every speaker. I believe there was one speaker that he said, I don't have a challenge, or maybe two. So that's actually the only thing I could possibly suggest for Nick, is to say, if you just can't think of anything they could have done better, another angle you can come up with for a suggestion is just something they could have done differently. So for example, if somebody gave a really interesting talk, you might say, well, why don't you use a different voice in that section where you were talking about you and your friend discussing something of that nature. That's really the only thing I could find to suggest to you, because it really was very, very good. Excellent job. Thanks a lot, Nick. I'm going to give the meeting back to Nick as Toastmaster. It's time for him to talk about meeting awards.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you for the kind words. Thank you for the cue on what comes next. And thank you for what maybe we should go ahead and start the drum roll, because let me confirm here, actually. It's getting, the anticipation is building. I can't find my chat box. It's moved from me. It used to always be on the side. And our Table Topics Award goes to Jean Symington Craig.
Oh, yeah. Okay. A complimentary packing presentation for anyone who wants one. Yeah.
Now, hold on, folks. It's not over. Bob was on a roll. He's won multiple victories. And if I'm not mistaken, he won tonight's Best Speaker Award.
Yay.
Yay. Yay.
Well, folks, it has been another excellent Toastmasters meeting. And we're even extremely timely today. I'm not sure how that happened. Magic in the stars. Great guidance from others. And some of that is our wonderful president, which I'm going to hand it back to Art, who can close things out for us.
Although I was the timer, I don't think I can claim responsibility for the fact that we've come out early. Bob, when do you go to Des Moines to compete?
This weekend, this coming weekend,
Saturday.
Saturday.
Right.
And so it starts Friday night, Sunday, Saturday.
When is your competition? Is it Friday night or Saturday? Saturday, I'm
Saturday
sure.
morning, about 8:30.
Really? They make you compete at 8:30 in the morning?
It's kind of what I thought, but
Yeah.
yep.
Uh-huh.
And one other thing I found is that said, I was going to ask you, it's Saturday when they do the awards, they want formal dress. Does that mean coat and tie versus a business address on Friday? Or,
Yeah, I honestly, so that's Saturday night, right?
mm-hmm.
So I have been at the conference, and I mean, people have certain people, I mean, they have come in tux and long evening gowns. I mean, really dressing up.
Okay.
Now,
I don't think that's required.
I don't know. And it's not like everybody does that. I mean, there's sort of so I think but I do think you would want to be in a suit of some sort, or a jacket and tie and nice pants. And, it's that kind of leaning that way.
Okay.
No.
Well, I have that attire to wear. I just try to understand what is
Yeah.
possible.
Well, formal is tux, and really you sort of go, wow.
I thought I read, maybe I'm not thinking about the meeting that you're going to. I thought I read that it was optional. Formal was optional.
At the contest or at the conference this year.
Maybe I wasn't looking at this particular one,
Bob's-
but I'm quite surprised if they require formal.
No,
dress.
I mean, it wouldn't be like they wouldn't let
It
you
wasn't a
in.
requirement, but they mentioned it in there. Let me just pull it up real quick.
I think they're doing it just in the spirit of fun. So if people want to do it, then
Yeah, Bob, you don't have to. I was kind of surprised that people did that, but
Mm-hmm.
it kind of elevated everything. But I think if you're in a nice, jacket, tie, or a suit, if you have a suit, then I think that would be good.
Okay.
I think that's what I would go for, would be a suit.
Okay. So a suit on Saturday and
Saturday evening, because people are wearing other stuff during the day, and then they go for a break, and then they come back, they're all dolled up.
okay. All right. Now I know. That sounds good.
Yeah.
Well, basically about 3 changes of clothes, one for Friday night, one during the day on Saturday, and then a formal on Saturday evening.
It sounds like you need a packing consultant.
I do. I just heard it. Yeah. Thanks for that insight, Jean. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Layer them so you have what
hang
you
one
need.
suit over one back door, one over the other back door, and wear the other one on the drive. Take a grocery bag with a change of underwear. You're set.
Yeah. So Saturday morning is when we need to kind of put in our psychic energy on you.
That would help. Yeah. Just
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Zapping in. Yeah.
That would be good.
Yeah.
Now I can't seem to find out. Oh, I'll
Your
find-
gestures are so blend. You look like your gestures and your story and your voice all seem to go well together. You know, you're not extraneous gestures, but you really keeping the thing going. I just thought it was fun. So hoping you do well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm glad you give me all the pointers I get. Any suggestions?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that I didn't clarify the jump with the people, and but I can clarify that. Knowing that I only had 6 minutes, I got plenty of time to clarify.
Yeah. Well, don't go over, you know. Oof. Well, if that's the bummer, is being disqualified. Oh, it's the heartache of disqualification. Yeah. Nick's eyes say it all.
Yeah, when you
Club
get
business?
disqualified by 1 minute over, or I mean, 1 second over, or 2 seconds
Yes.
over.
You can be disqualified for 1 second over.
Yep.
So
That
just
would
a
be
club
hard.
business art. Do we have a officer
Officer
meeting next
meeting.
Wednesday? Mm-hmm.
We don't have one planned,
First Wednesday.
but first Wednesday would be, let's see, tomorrow
Fourth.
is,
It's the 4th.
tomorrow's, yeah,
May 4th be with you, huh?
Wednesday, May
Yeah.
4th should be good.
So 8:00, or we're doing that then. I'm good with that.
Okay,
Okay. Okay.
I'll put that in my calendar right now.
Mm-hmm. And Bob, once you come back, your mind is back into, you know, regular schedules programming here. We'll talk about your scheduling your next speech. Is that right?
Yes.
When we kind of have a sense about Alex. And then Nick was going to be thinking about something.
Yeah, Bob, are
Listen.
you going next week or no? Are you gonna hold off for a week? Or we don't know.
I don't remember what the plan was.
Well, I don't know. Alex is not marked not here on the 3rd, but somehow I feel like she's not going to be here. So that was, anyway, you know, she's in Hawaii. So I'm thinking we probably still have another week before Alex is back, and we wanted to have as many people as possible. So maybe that would be the 10th, May 10th.
Okay. Yep.
And then we would have Nick be your evaluator.
Okay.
So Nick can be watching and continuing to pick up. Is that okay, Nick? You look like your eyes went up.
May 10th should be good. It's my mother-in-law's birthday. I will let you know if I find out that that's not good, but I think it's
Okay. You could
I think
maybe
it's
you
a
could come.
non-issue.
Okay. It's Finley's birthday too. It's his 1-year birthday.
Oh,
May 10th. Yeah. Yeah.
Already.
Yeah.
Nick,
So
Just when you do your next speech, you tell us what happened when you hit Miami and that bus. I want to hear the rest of the
It's like,
story.
wait, no.
Paul Harvey's.
Oh, why'd you give him a red card? I think I can go down for next week. It's my do a speech and then do another speech. So having room for improvement is always good.
okay. Okay.
If nobody else has something they want to do, I'll try and put some energy to it.
Okay. And it's it's that first one of the 3 pieces of the evaluation. So okay. You're in it then.
Okay.
You're now official. The clock starts ticking. The countdown clock is ticking. Tick tock, tick tock. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I don't want to add pressure. Well, a little, but just. Yeah. There we go. He's weighted down.
And you'll be happy to know I put my tick-tock clock out in the garage.
I thought that's why you changed rooms.
Well, it was part of the reason, yeah, but part of the
I'll
reason
have to go out there and visit your
Move my
Harley
speech
spot now and then.
more room. But I
Now,
did.
Bob, just know, if you don't win, because you're kind of on a winning streak right now, but if you don't win, you
Mhm.
know, we still love you. Okay, so don't worry about that.
Okay.
You know, we're just thrilled you're even at the district level. You should have on the district council meeting on Saturday. Art and I were there, Zoom, and I was listening. Division X was not represented there. Anyway, but it seemed like they're going to have some people to
4.
compete against.
Yeah, there was 4. The way that I read that Diane sent out to me.
Okay, good. So, you know, on your toes. But yeah, okay.
I will do great.
You will do
Have fun.
great.
Yeah.
I will do great.
You'll have fun and enjoy the people. You know, just enjoy the people. That's that's a big thing.
It's interesting that you mentioned that, because when I gave the first
Really?
speech in Coralville, I had some people that I never met, and it was just nice. I mean, I like meeting those new people.
Yeah, exactly. And they'll know you now. They'll go, oh, we met that guy, Bob Fogel, who's over at Golden Speakers. I mean, it kind of puts us a little bit on the map. Well, you know,
True.
So
They'll be want to come switch over to this club.
yeah, and it's just like, okay, there's stuff going on down in Southeast Iowa.
For sure. I even had my acceptance speech, how I sat there and bought the elite speakers who train me here at Golden Speakers, and that's why I'm so good. I'm ready to get
Elite speakers.
Speak.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I do have an acceptance speech, and that is what it is.
All right.
Okay.
You tell me, all you folks are going to be right in there.
I'm going to adjourn the meeting now.
Okay.
And Nick is the host, so he can determine when things shut down, but I'm going to be leaving the meeting myself.
Okay.
So, good night, everyone.
Good night,
Good night,
Art.
Art.
Good night, everyone. All right.
Bye.